When I was in college, I had a pair of glasses and my one bow broke, and I didn't have enough money to get a new pair, and I didn't want to bother my mom and dad, so I'd sit on the side of the room where I could put the glasses on up against the wall, and I had a bow. Because I couldn't sit in the middle of the room, I'd be made fun of. Yep. That's my thought for the day.
Bret is always a forward thinker, and a lot of people might not recognize that because he runs a traditional style offense, and sometimes coaches get labeled by their, the style of play on the field, but he's always trying to find ways to get the job done.
Rolling into town here with 7 coaches. Tomorrow we'll hit a satellite camp here in Tampa.
So during this recruiting process, if somebody else has got like 20 offers and you got none, it don't matter. Live your life.
So you're running around to all these camps. Did you ever go to camp when you were a kid?
I did, but my dad would let me go to one camp per year. It was awesome for me because it was like a vacation.
Like a football camp?
It was a football camp. I went to the University of Iowa because it got me out of doing chores. I went to wrestling camp 2 years and football camp 4 years.
You used to wrestle?
I was a grappler. I'm a former wrestler. Any O-lineman, D-lineman that wrestle, I think is an awesome amen thing because it's just you and another man on the mat and let's see who wins.
He was aggressive, very aggressive, and he had the record for pins his senior year.
Did you like wrestling?
I did like wrestling, still like wrestling. One thing I love about wrestling, it's just you and another guy on the mat. It's man against man, there's no other way, there's no one to run, nowhere to hide, especially when we recruit offensive and defensive linemen, because the balance that you need and the principles it installs in you, it can't be replicated in any other sport. The more sports they play, the better they are, in my opinion. I would say overall, most coaches would want you to play as many sports as you can before the specialization takes effect.
Spring ball went good?
We're good. We are breaking a new queue, much like you, right?
What about the kid you guys signed out of Miami where the dad wouldn't sign?
It was his mom wouldn't sign. He just turned pro. Alex Collins, yeah. Drafted by the Seahawks. It was planned for signing day, and sure enough, mom came through, grabbed the scholarship papers and ran out the door. And we weren't there. We didn't want to hear about it, right in front of the TV and everything. Alex, broke down, felt bad for him. He was embarrassed.
I understand. I respect her, and I understand why she did it, to give me more time, to let me really think about signing that paper.
So one of the things I did during his last visit is we'd went and visited his father. I always called Alex. I never called him Buddha. Buddha was his nickname. And early on in his life, he had told me, I said, where'd you get the nickname Buddha? And he said, my dad gave me the nickname. And I said, why do you call you Buddha? He goes, I don't know. So I'm like, all right, that stuck in my mind. And so then I finally had a chance to meet his dad. And Alex wasn't around us. And I said to him, hey, one of the first things Alex told me about you was that you nicknamed him Buddha. He looked at me and he said, Alex has always been my lucky charm. He was always my lucky charm. I go to Alex later in the day and I said, hey, you got a chance to meet your dad? And he told me why he named you Buddha. And he looked at me and he goes, why? He didn't know. And so I was like, it's amazing with kids, they just don't know what they don't know. And I told him the story and he kind of welled up a little bit, And Alex thought it was because he had a big belly all his life, but it wasn't, because he was his dad's lucky charm.
Have a good one, guys.
I grew up in a little town in Illinois, 1,300 people on a hog farm. We had 2,000 pigs, but we had 1,300 people. You know what I mean? So the first place I go to recruit is South Plantation High School in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. First time I've ever been in a room where I was the only white man in the room, all right? So from that day forward, my whole idea and perception of what a young man is changed, because there's a lot of beautiful people in this world that don't look like me.
This is a big honor for me, because I'm going to get a chance to introduce you to someone that I was blessed to work with for 6 years. I had a chance to be with him for 1 year at the University of Arkansas, where they beat LSU, they've gone to bowl games. He's building a special culture up there.
If I love a kid on film, honestly, there's 3 things I'll drop you. Academics, how you treat your mother or the women in your life. Like if I'm sitting at a table and a kid curses his mother or is disrespectful, to the women in his life, it's usually a very good indicator something's gonna go wrong, And the third thing is just, I can't stand or handle people that aren't respectful or truthful, you know what I mean? So if a kid, he'd be like telling, oh, I'm lying to him, you know what I mean? It's just a red flag, It's a way of life. Get out. Otherwise, you're going to do it to you.
Build your culture first, and don't ever waver on what you want your culture to be. If I took anything from the 6 years that I was with them, that your culture is going to carry you, and it's going to help you win the big ones. It's going to carry you through maybe some tougher times, but don't bend. Identify what you want your culture to be, and live that every day. And that's what I'll always take with me from Bret.
Your story of who you are and what you are is just like your name. You get your name and you carry it with you your whole life. And you build upon it every day, or you take away from it. You're here today, this is a good value to your name. Keep making that value great. But always keep in mind, as much as you build it, you can lose it in a second.
It's the thing I've always admired about Bret. He always tried to find a way to make things better for the players and the coaches so we can have success.
Said before we left, we were going to hit them harder. All right, we're going to outplay them longer. And we're going to win together. Oh, yeah. That's what you just did. Oh, yeah. But I can't tell you, all the guys that have been with us for 3 years get a first road game SEC. Yeah. Yeah. Tastes pretty good. Yeah. Let's not wait so long now. Hey, let's take care of each other tonight. Be smart.
When he was getting in the position of hiring coaches and stuff, I says, you know, if you hire a friend, you may have to fire a friend.
I think one of the greatest things I've ever done is I've never hired a friend.
As I watch things and stuff, he pretty well has paid close attention to that.
I've refrained from hiring friends for a reason. I think then they feel that there's comfort level that exists that I don't want to be there. I want them to do things the way we want to do things. Now, we get very close once they're here. I'd like to say that I hire a lot of guys that aren't friends, that I don't really know, but they leave very good friends. There's a lot of cries in the end, a lot of tears, but on the same account, a lot of great wins along the way.
I want you to think about what car best signifies each one of your assistant coaches.
What car signifies our coaches? Our defensive coordinator, Rob Smith, a slug bug.
A VW.
A lot of times Rob makes people mad, so when you see a slug, you're supposed to slug bug the roof, right? Dan Enos, classic yet rugged. I'd call him like a little Range Rover SUV. Kurt Anderson, Chevy Suburban XL. Extra long space, wide body. Vernon Hargrave is an old classic, so probably like a Mustang. Lenny would probably be like a Mercedes-Benz sports utility vehicle. Like you wouldn't think it really exists, but it does. Something that's really pretty that tries to act rugged, but deep down it's really still a Benz, you know?
Right.
Lenny actually has his wife pick out his clothes when he goes to work. You use those for your practice shoes, huh? I heard they're pretty on time.
Awesome.
Being Bret Bielema is brought to you by Bandit Outdoors, Pepsi, and 5 Hour Energy.